Okay, I think I know what you're thinking, and I wanted to address that right at the very beginning of this video. Is this the easy topic? And to that I say the answer is no, this is not the easy topic. If you want it to go easy, you want it to go predictable, the easy topic to make in this video today would be expectations for Connor Bedard. The first overall guy, the player we had hyped up for years, the guy who had finally gotten drafted by the Chicago Blackhawks a few weeks ago. But I'm not exploring the easy topic. Instead, we are going down the path less traveled and talking about expectations for a guy who didn't go number 1, he didn't go number 2. Let's talk today about Columbus Blue Jackets' third overall pick, Adam Fantilli. Because out of all the guys who had been drafted in the first round of the 2023 draft, only a handful of these guys are going to make the NHL right away. You could say Bedard is gonna do so because, yeah, he's gonna do so. He's gonna tear things up with Taylor Hall. Okay, that's gonna be cool. And then you could say that for a few other guys, they are good enough to play, but maybe they won't do it just yet. Like Leo Carlsson, I'd say he's good enough to play, but whether or not that happens, we'll see. Same thing could be said here about this third overall player, Adam Fantilli. However, I will say it's a little bit more guaranteed that he plays at least a cup of coffee at the National Hockey League level, because he had already signed his ELC earlier this week. That makes it so that he forfeits his NCAA eligibility. He is done with the collegiate scene. He had played 1 year in a freshman season that was dominant. He won the Hobey Baker, first player since Jack Eichel to win the Hobey Baker as a freshman. So, I'd say that Adam Fantilli is fairly accomplished at this level, if I do say so myself. Just in case you need the update here, the guy finished off his freshman year with 65 points in 36 games played. He was an assist a game, he was almost a goal a game, and for good reason too. You could acknowledge just the talent, the two-way responsibility, the playmaking, the goal scoring, it was all there. And for Fantilli, he has nothing more to prove at the collegiate level. He was already the best player in the NCAA, and now all that's left to do is showcase that skill and talent at pro hockey levels. Whether or not it's the NHL or the AHL, we'll see, but there's probably good fodder for him to maybe make an NHL debut and hopefully stick around for the rest of the season. Now, this is where we get into the fun part of the video. Because as we talk a little bit more about Fantilli, what I wanted to focus on before diving into the play was just how much he wanted to be a Blue Jacket. There was a video posted by the NHL on Twitter saying this: back in May, Adam Fantilli told us what team he would like to go to the most. And it actually is a video of Fantilli saying, it may be unorthodox, but the team I want to go to the most in the NHL is Columbus. And I know what you're thinking, wait a minute, he didn't say that. Who wants to go to Columbus? But it actually is right there. Now, I'm not too sure if the NHL is being 100% truthful and saying, oh, this video was shot back in May, and Fantilli legitimately wanted to be a Blue Jacket, or if they had Fantilli say, oh, I want to go to the Ducks, or I want to go to the Blackhawks, and they had videos prepared for every scenario. Who really knows? But if this is the case that Fantilli was indeed interested in coming over to Columbus because they have a lot of Michigan alumni, how they have a good young group, stuff like that that's said in the video, it's good that he got his wish. You also saw the happiness from him and his family when the Columbus Blue Jackets chose him third overall. They all looked super stoked for their guy Adam, and that was pretty telling as to what the overall attitude of the Fantilli family was when they heard that he was going to Columbus. Not to mention the fact that you had his teammate, Gavin Brindley, get drafted by the Blue Jackets in the second round. This was an update from Dylan Tyrer. I talked to Columbus Blue Jackets second rounder Gavin Brindley today, who said he and Adam Fantilli are exploring Columbus as much as possible and trying a new restaurant every night. He said they've both been extremely impressed by how nice the city and the people are. And this is where you get into, dare I say, the Johnny Gaudreau effect. All of a sudden, with Gaudreau signing with this team last year, Columbus is slowly creeping up into that territory where they're becoming a lot more of a desirable destination than they had been perceived to have been a few years ago. So thank you, Johnny Gaudreau, for going out there and putting this team on the map. And for guys like Adam Fantilli, you really got to go out there and ask the question, what is next? What are the expectations for this number one center to be as an 18-year-old player in the NHL in his first season? This is where we get into the projections, because if you go over to the Blue Jackets and their lines via dailyfaceoff.com, they've got a pretty interesting set of centers on their team already. Of course, Adam Fantilli is supposed to be the best one when he hits his prime. Better than Boone Jenner, better than Cole Sillinger. But right now, the Daily Faceoff list has Fantilli playing with Kent Johnson and Kirill Marchenko. Now, whether or not that happens in reality, it remains to be seen. But having Kent Johnson, who is also a Michigan Wolverine, kind of, dare I say, mentor Fantilli for a little bit as an NHL guy who's already had some experience, it would be a pretty nice pairing to have. Now, if you wanted to go full send and just have Fantilli play with Gaudreau and Laine for his first season, then I have no doubt that Fantilli would probably rack up a bunch of assists and have a good amount of progress from the NCAA to the NHL. Of course, though, first-line minutes are a little bit difficult for 18-year-olds. The first-line matchups, the superstars on the other team that you have to play off against and track, it's pretty difficult for a first-year player. But when it comes to the stylistic play of what Gaudreau and Laine provide, as a number one sniper with some pretty questionable two-way game, yet he's able to get going when he wants to in Patrick Laine, and a quick, shifty, nimble playmaker in Johnny Gaudreau, I feel like Adam Fantilli represents what could be the really nice medium in between both of these guys. He's responsible two-way, he's not the fastest guy in the world, but he can make plays, he can score goals, he can read the ice very, very well. If Fantilli pans out to his best, his absolute ceiling, which in my opinion is maybe 90 to 100 points in the NHL, this guy could be the best of both worlds, in between the skill sets of Johnny Gaudreau and Patrick Laine. It's just, as an 18-year-old, how much does he get instead? If he's playing sheltered minutes, if he's playing maybe on the second power play, for example, I could honestly see Fantilli getting, let's say, 40 to 50 points in his NHL rookie year. It's going to be interesting to note because it's been a while since we've had these 18-year-old rookie showdowns for the Calder, right? I mean, the last one that I remember particularly well was Matthews Laine in 2016, because both those guys were really productive straight out of the draft. But then the years after, you had Nico Hischier, Nolan Patrick. That wasn't a Calder battle at all. The Calder that year was Barzal and Besser. And then the year after that, Rasmus Dahlin was not a Calder winner. He was a finalist, but he didn't win. 2019 comes along, you have Kako and Jack Hughes. They're not in that Calder race. And then 2020, 2021, you see Lafreniere and everything. It's a little bit different nowadays than things were back in 2014, 15, 16, when the first overall pick was winning the Calder every year. So this time around, it's going to be intriguing to see Adam Fantilli maybe play with Kent Johnson, see if that chemistry is there, because they didn't have any playing time together with Michigan. When Fantilli made his debut, Kent Johnson was already gone. Not to mention the fact that there are also a few other NCAA Michigan boys in the Blue Jackets system. You have, of course, Zach Werenski, who is the obvious one, but you also do have Nick Blankenberg on that blue line as well. He had played 4 full seasons with the Michigan Wolverines before signing with the Blue Jackets a few years ago. So there is a good connection between the Wolverines and the Blue Jackets, but for Adam Fantilli, as long as he gets a top 6 role, as long as he's given proper opportunity to develop alongside whoever it is, like whether it's the other young guys on the Blue Jackets or if it's their poised, top-of-the-line scorers already, I have no doubt it's going to be a pretty good season to follow. Does he outscore Connor Bedard? I'd probably bet not, but if everything goes well, I'd say that a good rookie season for Fantilli would start out with 40 points at the very least. If he's able to get, let's say, 15 goals, 35 assists, maybe 20, that would be ideal for a guy who is 18 coming his way into the NHL after a dominant NCAA year. But either way, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Adam Fantilli, yay or nay, 40 to 50-ish points. Do you think that's possible? Do you think it's going to happen? Where do you think he's going to play next year, NHL or AHL? Does he play a full 82 with the NHL club? Or does he split it, maybe half and half, or he gets 9 games in the NHL before getting sent down? Let me know your thought process in the comment section below. And if you're a Blue Jackets fan, who would you want to see him play with more? Kent Johnson, Marchenko, Laine, Gaudreau? Thoughts in the comments as to where he belongs in your lineup. I hope you enjoyed this video. 99. And bye.